Hi, it's Dave. How are you doing? I have got a stinking cold, so sorry if I sniff or clear my throat, or if my voice goes really deep and croaky, because that's what it does when I get sick and I have to make an effort to keep my voice up there, or I go into Barry White territory. So today I want to talk about some ways to get out of the four chord rut. I was talking to someone about it yesterday. They're stuck writing four chords and then they build stuff over that and then they're stuck with these four chords. So I was just playing around with these chords, which are C, B minor seventh, A minor, back to B minor seventh. And it was kind of had this nice little vibe going. Back to the beginning. And it's quite a self-contained thing, but you start playing something like that and you're like, oh, I could hear some vocals over that, and then it could sort of build up, but you get stuck in that four chord loop. And there are some ways. There is a way out. There's a few ways out. One of them is if you separate any melody that you've come up with from the chords and think of them as different things. One way I like to describe it is that your melody is the main character and the chords are the scene that you put them in. So you can change the type of scene that they're in. It might be a chase scene, it might be a love scene, it might be an action scene, it might be a suspense scene, and that will change the kind of chords that you put with it. So the kind of tune that I had that was going over this was like, now it's just kind of quite a simple mellow thing, but if you just take, say, the C that we're starting on, and you just hold that and don't change it, and you just play the melody over that with just the C as a kind of drone. If we just play the C as a note chord and do it sort of quietly and suspensefully, and we can just play that melody over it. It's not incredible thing, but it's just sort of, it's got this suspenseful feeling to it, and it puts the melody in a different context. And if you played that melody and then played it with the chords, it wouldn't sound like you were repeating yourself. One thing you can do as well is to slow down the chords. So instead of changing, if it was every bar or whatever, they change every two bars. We would now have. It gives the whole thing a much more laid back feel than it did originally. And it's quite a cool thing to do if you start off with it at that half speed and then later on in the song, you go back to the original speed, and it kind of refreshes everything, gives it a new lease of life. Another thing that you can do is to change the key of the chord. So this one, we've got the C, B minor seventh, A flat, A minor. Oh, my head's not with it today. We can transpose this whole thing down to G. So if we do that and we keep the melody in the same place, you don't change the key of the melody. You keep the melody where it is, you change the key of the chords, or not really the key, you're just changing the chords. So the original version. Then we change to G. It was actually because of the melody goes to D there, we could just go to the D instead of the F sharp minor. So if I just play the chords without the melody, this is how they would now go. back to the C. It's a bit of an ungainly leap back to the C. Oh, excuse me. Oh, it's a horrible cold. But it extends the length of your chord sequence. It also makes it sort of longer and more winding and a more sort of storytelling feel to it. And you can keep the same melody or you can change the melody. What you can also do is change the melody. Like you could have the melody go up. You could change the direction of the chord sequence. This goes down. We could reverse the direction of that. So instead they go up. We go to G. Go up. So there's a whole bunch of ways to get around that. The other thing you can also do is when you've done the 4 chords, you could just go to like a 2-bar resting chord before you go back again. You could also, what's the other thing we could do? Brain fog, but brain fog. Have remembered the other thing. It was to go to a related chord. So when you have C, by related chord, I mean one that's very closely related. So basically one note different from the chord that you've got. So for C, very closely related chord would be E minor. What would also be related? A minor would be kind of related. Getting less closely related, you'd have A flat. But if you change any of these chords for the closely related chord, we could go C, and then instead of the A minor, we could do F. That makes it sound like it wants to go to the C, and we could go to the D. So there, I ended up just coming up with a little something there, but we just, instead of we started with the C, the B minor, and instead of the A minor, we went to the F. And that sounded like it wanted to resolve to the C with the G in the bass. And then this chord thing I like to go up to the D, but have the F sharp in the bass. And then there's the minor feel. So it's that kind of thing, going to related chords instead of the one that you're originally going to go to. It kind of sparks off other ideas. Doubling the length of the chords, changing the length that the chords stay on, just holding a pedal note or a drone underneath it, separating out the melody from the chords and using it in a different way. Here's another one. Instead of using the melody like that, you could change the direction of it. And that sounds like it wants to go to the G or something. Something like that. But it's just, it sets you off in a different direction and it extends the length of the phrase. So changing the direction, changing the length of the chord sequence by doubling it and changing the key, changing how long the chords last, and then using the related chords to branch off in another direction. Sorry for all the sniffing and the sneezing and the coughing and stuff. I will have probably edited it all out by the time that you see this, but I hope that has been useful to you, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.